It's interesting what happens because when you change yourself, everything around you starts changing.
Constantly expecting people to help me, to give me something to get me out of it. I was constantly looking for a savior. What I had to do was remember who I am as a woman, because that was attacked at a young age. It was femininity, patriarchy, abuse, all those things had attacked this part of who I do as a woman. And so that part of a woman, the femininity, is the creativity.
You have to take yourself to your future.
You have to take the risk. You have to say, I want this enough. Not this person, does she see this in me? Does this person see it? Does Mirela see this in me? We all see it in every one of you in this room. But do you see it in you? Because you have to. And once you take hold to that, because you have to, once you take hold to this, you're unstoppable.
Now, let me repeat it again. So, Kirsty came to Paris. We met there. And then suddenly, the day after, I'm traveling because we had a gala, back again. And I see her again in London. I said, okay, so you are from US, are you from Paris, or are you from London now? Because I said, and she said, I'm a global woman. And then, exactly. And then she said, oh, you have a meeting in Brussels. Now that I joined the club, I want to come to Brussels. You are my girl. Absolutely. Now, tell us about your story.
Yes. You know what? It started when I was 9 years old. So when I was 9 years old, this is the first moments where I realized my voice was taken. And from that point on, this was from being abused as a child. In that moment, I ran to all kinds of things. Like you talked about running, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's what I did when I was a child. I ran into books, fashion, magazine, anything to create a life, a world for myself that wasn't the situation that I was in. But I didn't know that leadership was in me. And so in these moments when I was a kid, these things are being suppressed in me, like, you're too small, you don't need to talk about this, don't do this. And nobody advocated for the abuse that I went through when I was a kid. So I taught myself, after all this was happening to me, I taught myself that, I have to stand up for myself. Nobody around me is standing up for me. I have to do that for myself. And so I'm a little kid, I'm 9 years old, and I'm trying to figure out how to save my own life. So as I get older, I realize some of the things that I'm doing is I'm actually running into toxic friendships, toxic relationships. Here I am now, was in a toxic marriage that was super patriarchal and dominant. And, my husband, he didn't want me to be the powerful woman that I am. So it was this idea that a woman needs to be seen and not heard. I need to be a pretty little thing on the corner on the side. And he knew that I was ambitious. People knew that I was ambitious and driven. But here's the thing. If your voice is suppressed and you do not know who you are, people can tell you who you are. And when people can dictate who you are, it's over for you, really. You have to know who you are. You've got to go inside and do that work. So as I was doing my work, things were coming up. Things kept coming to the surface. And I was like, oh, I've got to deal with that. I can't just stuff that down. I've got to actually feel that and face it. So I started dealing with, okay, this happened to me as a kid. Well, how can I reparent myself? Reparenting work is a psychologist. Yeah. So I start reparenting myself. Okay, my mom didn't give me this. My dad didn't. You start doing the blame thing. And then once I got out of that, I'm blaming all these people and I'm taking personal responsibility and ownership for my own life, my own story, my own success or whatever it is. Then I started realizing, okay, there's something in this. And I'm running into other women who are coming to me and they're influenced by what I'm doing. And I'm like, why are these women attracted to me?
It's interesting what happens because when you change yourself, everything around you starts changing.
Yes.
And then you become a magnet to attract these people who, in fact, are seeing something in you.
Yes.
But my observation is that your self-awareness is very high.
Yeah.
Because for you to take that decision and say, look, I'm going to take the responsibility of my life. I'm not going to play the victim anymore. Yes, maybe my mama, my father, whoever in the family, they didn't do things right, but that doesn't help for me to be in the victim zone. Mm-hmm. So you decided to get out of that. What was the trigger? How did you get that?
Yeah. The trigger was constantly expecting people to help me, to give me something to get me out of it. I was constantly looking for a savior. And the older I got, even through religion and all the different spiritualities, I looked for the same thing. I was looking for a guru. I was looking for a teacher. I was looking for a preacher. Somebody come and save me. Somebody get me out of this. And then it hit me. I've got to save myself. I've got to get in there and do it, because every time I relinquished my power or abdicated my power to somebody else and said, hey, here, you do it. Please get me out of here. Come and help me. Nobody can.
And so it's very interesting if you remember to the stage one when you wake up, then when you're awake and you start seeing things that you haven't been able to see before, and also you start seeing things that other people can't see, and you start seeing things that have a different meaning in your life. Before, maybe it didn't have the same meaning. They always have been there. You realize that now is the time when I can take control of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And many times we also see that we hear this like forgive other people. You know what is the biggest challenge that I see, and you have overcome it with such ease? Forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
You say it with ease. That's amazing, because the word that I gave myself a few years ago was, you know what? I got to do business differently. And the word that I feel attached to is easeful. And what I had to do was remember who I am as a woman, because, that was attacked at a young age. Femininity, patriarchy, abuse, all those things had attacked this part of who I am as a woman. And so that part of a woman, the femininity, is the creativity. It's you don't have to take somebody else's model and what somebody else is doing, because the feminine constantly flows with creativity. You don't have to stop. It's there. So if you're connected to who you are, it's not stopping. You're unstoppable. You become unstoppable when you know who you are. And so I'm like, how do I keep connected to this, And I had to just remember that I had to find something to ground myself. How do I ground myself? And it was in who I am. It's not a book, not a resource, not a thing, but what am I here for? What is my purpose? What am I here to do? And then once I started doing that healing work, I'm like, my purpose, what's my vocation? And I was doing everything. I was a pastor at one point. I was over children's ministries, young adult ministries. I'm in school for psychology. I have so many degrees. I'm a veteran in the Air Force. I mean, you name it, I've probably done it. Worked for the airlines. I mean, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of business, all kinds of leadership and coaching. And I sat back one day and said, oh my God, I have no idea who I am. And everybody was like, your life is so successful. You and your husband, you have this beautiful home.
So you had another crash now.
Another crash. So I have all these little, what I call, these moments where your soul is just like depleted and you're like, wait, where am I? I'm lost. The dark night of the soul. That's what Carl Jung calls it. So I get there and I'm like, I don't know what else to do. I've done everything. I've got the husband, I've got the kids, I've got the marriage.
With that, where you try something and you try another thing and you try another thing and say it's not working. Mm-hmm. But then suddenly something happens.
Then suddenly something happens. The suddenly.
Suddenly. It's like, it looks like many times people may see like success overnight, but it's like the bamboo. You are working for 7 years to see that tiny little seed. Yeah. And then when people start seeing, said, excuse me, no, don't take me wrong. I've been working underground for 7 years, minimum. Mm-hmm. So what happens when you come overground?
When you come overground, you're just unstoppable, because again, you've been doing this work underground. And you also have to remember, like, once you're finally submerging or coming to the surface, or like the butterfly comes out of the cocoon, when you're right here, the environment matters so much that you're in. So even like this group of women right here, you have to be in a community of women, or a community that is supportive enough for you to actually flourish and you to actually grow. So when I got out of it, I realized, I was like, oh, something's different about me. But I still have the residue of the past. Why is it there? Mm-hmm. Because I want it, because I'm still stuck to it. It's telling me, the world, God, everything is telling me, hey, step out of it. And I'm like, okay, that's a risk. Do it. So I do it. I look for these communities. I'm jumping on a plane. I don't care how much it costs. I don't care what I have to do. I heard
it's the willingness.
Yes, the will.
You have to take yourself to your future.
You have to take the risk. You have to say, I want this enough. Not this person. Does she see this in me? Does this person see it? Does Mirela see this in me? We all see it in every one of you in this room. But do you see it in you? Because you have to. And once you take hold to that, because you have to, once you take hold to it, you're unstoppable.
Tell us about your new self.
Yes.
You're present, because the present is the most precious moment that we
Yes.
have in life. How does it look like now?
Oh my goodness. Okay. It's beautiful. A lot is happening, so I'm saying beautiful. And I have this analogy that I use that it is you can be surrounded by hard things that are happening or chaos or whatever. But in the middle of the storm, or when you feel like you may be shipwrecked or something new or transition is happening, but you're grounded again because you're anchored on what is right in front of you. You know where you're going. And this stage where I'm in right now is like I'm coming out of, well, I'm currently divorcing. So I'm in a situation.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. That is congratulations. This is my divorce party. Thank you for coming. But I was a young girl and I came into a situation where I was married and I thought this is what I was supposed to do, you know, like do all these things. But now here I am and I'm like, my voice matters, who I am matters. And I step into that and I say, look, I have a little girl. She's not even 2 yet. She cannot grow up and think that this is the way that a woman has to live. She is so ambitious already. She's so bold. She's already like, no, everything's no. I'm like, good. Need the
Well
spice.
done, her.
Yeah.
You're a great example, great role model for her now.
Thank you for
That's
that.
incredible. And thank you
Thank
for making the trip. I'm feeling so
Absolutely.
connected with you, and you're such a powerful young lady that we need you. The world needs your voice, because you know, another thing you reminded me, you mentioned voice, voice, voice all the time. We hear this, oh, women need a voice, women need a voice. But how can you have a voice if you don't start speaking?
That's right.
Now you have got your voice back because you're speaking.
Mhm.
You're speaking up. You're standing up. You're not hiding.
Right.
And you're not fearful and you're not scared anymore to be ambitious, because most of the time where I see the problem, people don't have the ambition anymore. They have already lost that ambition and that desire to want more, to be more. And how do we connect with it?
That's the soul work that I do with women. The coaching that I do with women is going back in and reconnecting with your soul. How do you get back in there and find the desires that you had? Maybe they were when you were a kid. Maybe who knows what stopped you from doing the things that it is that you wanted to do. So we go back in and we do that work. That's the work that we do, because we have to find out where you got off. How did you get off of where you're supposed to get? And you might be so close and feel like, well, I'm doing all the great things. I'm like, you know, right here, I'm kind of in alignment, but something kind of feels off. You don't want to kind of feel off. You want to be in alignment with where you're going. You want to be on the side of it or parallel. You want to be right in alignment with where you're going. So we go inside and we're like, oh, that little girl wanted to do this. So you need to adventure and discover what the little girl wanted to do. Like, what does she need to heal from? And then as you're doing that, it might not be you need to throw the whole model away, everything that you were doing. It might need to be that you need to tweak it and get right back on track.
Sometimes it's just that bit.
Just that little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And you're so right. Thank you for
Absolutely.
making it so clear and so simple. So, what are you selling us today?
So I teach soul health courses, and I developed this framework called the Soul Health Approach. I'm in a PhD program right now in California.
Can you believe it? After all of this, also she's having a PhD.
So with the program, I had decided, you know, I've already done all this work. I've been working with women for over 10 years now. And the only thing the program does for me is solidify the work that I've already done. That's all it does. But so I sell this course, Soul Health Approach Session, and Finding Your Voice. You can go online on my website, KristieFleur.com, and do those courses. I also do Freedom Sessions events, which are events like this where I bring women and speakers in. So if you're a speaker and you want to talk to other women who are, you know, they need to get out of the dumps and they need to get back in on their mission.
And where do you do this?
I've been doing them in the U.S. right now. My next one is in Paris during Fashion Week
Amazing.
in September.
Paris is not far.
It's not?
Yeah.
So we do-
Well, that's wonderful.